religion is not a political tool, and God, Reverend James Martin, Jesuit priest and author of a book on that church, says the church is not a photo op, the religion is not a political tool, and God is not a plaything. He's among some religious leaders who are very critical of that visit. What's your response?
Well, my response is simple. Most religious leaders loved it. I heard Franklin Graham this morning, thought it was great. I heard many other people think it was great. And it's only the other side that didn't like it. You know, the opposition party, as the expression goes.
Reverend James Martin, Jesuit priest and author of the book.
Hey, everybody. What's happening?
How you doing, Chase?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm great.
I like that gigantic clock.
Yeah, it's for me for the most part. Just got to remind myself that my time's valuable. But it also does that for my clients too, so it's always good.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send this live on Facebook.
What up? What up?
Olsen, what's going on?
How are you? Lynn, did you get my email, buddy?
I did,
just sent-
yeah. I
okay.
jumped over here, so we're good.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Chase, I'm trying to get rid of this thing called calendar as soon as I can. I have a ton of people that jump on it, and I'm just trying to go through it and filter them over to the Q&A calls, because a lot of the conversations are around educational stuff around marketplace. It's not strictly like a project onboarding.
Uh-huh.
So I'm diverting people over to the Q&A as much as I can.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I'm looking to white label the platform. So however you want to deal with that. So,
Yep. We'll answer all those questions.
cool.
Let's see.
Okay, sending us live on Facebook here.
Hey, George, it's nice out. You must be in California or something. I don't think he heard me.
Yo, George. Do you sleep at the wheel over there? All right, looks like we're live on Facebook. Cool. Welcome to our weekly Q&A call, everybody. If it's your first time, hey, Abby's on the call from our Supreme Build team.
We're all coming to hang out.
Nice.
Yeah, Abby, what's up?
What's up, Paulson?
How are you?
If you haven't met Paulson yet, he runs the White Label Services team. If you haven't met Abby yet, Abby runs our premium support and the agency Jumpstart team. Two great people to get to know.
Cool.
Abby, what do you have, a rare window in your calendar?
Yeah, I actually have this marked on my calendar and I leave it blocked off unless I have someone else who pings me and needs my attention. So I figured I'd come hang out until that happens, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Can you give us a quick overview of Agency Jumpstart? I feel like a lot of people don't know it exists still.
Yeah, so the agency Jumpstart is really like our high-level software consulting. So a lot of what I do with people is help you set up a high-level account that's ready to be used as a template and teach you how to take that template and scale it into multiple clients and basically like how you can grow your business and your agency using our platform. So that's a lot of what we run through. I've had every type of client from someone who's coming in and has one location to people that have $300 million in their pipeline and a very unique business case. So it's kind of looking at whatever people need and how HighLevel can solve their business problems.
Yeah, so super powerful option. I was just on a one-on-one call with someone and they were like, we were talking about building their master snapshot. And they're like, well, I don't know HighLevel well enough to know all the things I should build. And I was like, that's the beauty of the Jumpstart. You can sit down with Abby and her team and be like, hey, I focus on pest control marketing. And then Abby will be like, cool, most pest control marketers do this. Does this sound right? Yeah, great. Let's show you how to build it out.
Yeah, definitely that. And sometimes people like already have this whole giant, they're like, I dreamed up all of this and I can't sleep and I have this idea in my head. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Let's take that idea and build it into our software.
It sounds like we just answered Sean's question. So if that's where you're at and you're like, I know what I need, or I think I know what I need, I just don't know how to make it happen in HighLevel, go to the marketplace, the agency Jumpstart. That's exactly what it's for.
And Sean,
audio figured out.
Can you, if you have a master account, can you have individual snapshots for different people within that for each profile?
Yeah, so I have some people who we build out like 3 different templates, and it kind of depends like how much time commitment you have outside of the calls versus like you need to do it all on the calls. The Jumpstart package has a 1 month or 3 month option.
But I guess what I'm asking is, let's say I build out the template for, initially for real estate, and now I add a coach or an insurance broker in. Can I actually assign him a different snapshot under his particular profile?
Yep. Yeah, so
Okay,
you can
so
have as many
he'll only
snapshots
see-
as you need. Yeah. And a
So
lot of
he'll
what's
only
really
see
cool
the
is
campaigns for that particular expertise. Is that correct?
Yeah, so like what's really cool is the templates that we build out is it's not just like, oh, well, we have a coach and we're going to do all coaches, but it's like, what happens after you get a client that's not a coach? How do you take this template and everything that you already worked hard to build and adapt it very quickly into a different niche?
Got it. That answers the question.
Yep. And when you go into your agency level account and you go account settings, account snapshots, I think that's what it says. You see all the snapshots that you've created.
Right.
And so you can, have a snapshot for each industry that you work with.
Got it. Thank you.
Cheston, calls made from manual actions. I'm using it as a power dialer. Don't seem to be showing up in the call stats. There's only a fraction of the calls showing up there. Is there a way to make them show up?
Manual actions don't show up right now. It's something that's on our list to build.
Okay, cool. So there's our answer. Abby, do you have any idea of where they're at with that?
Last I heard, we're actually hiring a developer to work specifically on the call features. That will probably happen over the next 2 to 3 months. So I was told probably like the end of summer until we start seeing a lot of the call stats changing.
So it sounds like it's going to be part of that bigger project, which is like our full-on IVR internal, which is going to be really cool. George, with the new live email tracking, is there a way to know who opened, clicked, etc.? I'm sure that there is, and I'm sure we have that planned for phase 2 or 3 of that rollout.
Okay, that's cool.
But I know I've seen a bunch of people answering that question. So hopefully Sean will be able to jump in and give us like an ETA before we finish.
I was
today.
excited that was there. That was really cool to see.
I know, it looks really cool, right? When you hop in for the first time, you're like, whoa.
I wonder, do you know how long the tracking is for? Like on Mailgun, I have like 5 days. Is there like a time restriction that they're going to have? Maybe.
That's a good question. I think once it hits our logs, it'll stick there.
Okay.
But obviously, we just started tracking, I think, last Friday. So nothing before that is going to show.
Yeah, no. Cool.
If anybody have questions around marketplace or white label services on the agency side, please, feel free to ask those questions on chat as well.
Okay, so we've got a question from Langdon. Is there a way to allow a user that is booking through the calendar widget to select how long of an appointment they would like to book? I'm working with a caterer, and they want a potential customer to select what time the event would start and how long the event would be. I know that I could create my own form, but I was hoping for a way to do this so that it goes right into their calendar with minimal editing on their part. So here's how I would do it. I would ask the caterer, what are the most common lengths of time that people would choose? And then I would make a calendar, and the settings, I would make a calendar for each one of those amounts of time. So if it's like, a 2-hour slot, a 3-hour slot, a 4-hour slot, a 5-hour slot, and I would combine the calendars using the little comma separated hack, and then basically tell them, choose the time duration you need from the drop down. So just to reiterate this, if you haven't seen this before, you can combine calendars by going to settings, calendars. Oh, I only have one in this account, hang on. Open up a calendar, open up another calendar, grab the ID from one, and then do comma, paste it on the other, and then you get this drop down. So then I would put this on a landing page, and above it I would put some text that says like, choose your time frame or whatever you want to say from the drop down, and then choose your date and time. So that's a little bit of a hack. I think that could make it work for you. To be honest, I think that's sort of like an outlier request. So I don't think that would be I don't think that'll be an option in the new calendar updates that come. So this is probably the best way to make it happen. Or you could just make them form fields, right? And just, that doesn't really help as far as blocking that amount of time off on a calendar. But if you do it the way I just described, you could then link them all to the same Google Calendar, which would then block it all off from one place. So I think that would work for you. What else do we have here? Lynn, I would like to white label the system with the app. How do I get started? Go highlevel.com, open up your trial on the 297, and that'll get you white label for the desktop. And then for the mobile, you just go into, let me share my screen again.
Did I send him my affiliate link?
It's going to be like a free for all of affiliate links.
I already have an account, so I just want to switch over to the. I just want to switch over to the. I want to kind of change our brand.
Cancel it and reopen a new one.
Don't listen to George. That creates more tickets for me. So just go to your agency level, and then in the marketplace, scroll all the way down to white label app, and here's where you can upgrade to the mobile.
Okay, I've done that already then. Okay.
Okay, so then then it's just support. They're going to send you a list of stuff that you need to get together.
Perfect.
And then when you get that back to them, it takes between like 5 and 14 days, I think. So like a week or two.
And Chase, is that 297 plus 497, or is it moved over to 497? Because I get that question all the time.
It's additional.
Yep.
So
it
you're going to be
like
at
700 something, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool.
I'll have the same HIPAA compliance add-ons too. So we'll have so we're going to be up there monthly, but.
Pass those charges right along. We're actually doing a webinar tomorrow with the people that we worked with to become HIPAA compliant.
Okay, great.
Let me grab the URL for that actually.
Yeah, I want to know about that.
That's going to be a good one. Where's that? Calendar. So the compliancy group that we used, okay, here's the link. So yeah, definitely grab this link and save it for tomorrow, 2:30 tomorrow Central. Liam's on, they're fantastic. And what a lot of people don't know is that you can resell them too. So they charge like, I think it's $2,500 for the year. You can resell it for whatever you want. And then basically any HIPAA questions, you just forward it straight to your rep with them and they handle it directly with your client. So, you know, the world of HIPAA is a lot of moving pieces. If I'm working with healthcare professionals or doctors, I'm using them and I know that I have 100% confidence in saying I can get you HIPAA compliant, and I just forward every question over to Liam and his team and they knock it out for you. So definitely join the Q&A tomorrow with him. That'll be really important.
Central?
2:30 Central, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
The link's in the chat as well, Lynn.
Okay, I got the link. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's in my calendar.
Awesome. And if you just search weekly roundup in your email, if you're like, I should paste the link on Facebook too, I guess. That's the Zoom link for tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. if you're watching on Facebook. So that'll be really informative. Liam will answer a bunch of questions, and he's going to talk about how to basically leverage HIPAA, resell it, make money off of it, and use it as a tool to position yourself against your competitors. All right, let's see. What do we have next here? Can one calendar event check multiple Google Calendars for availability like Calendar? Not yet, but this is being worked on right now. So I think, and Abby, back me up here, you're going to start seeing some really awesome upgrades to Calendar within the next like month, I think.
Yeah, so like the beta testers, I think we're pulling in like the next 2 weeks, just a small like handful of users. But it should be very, very similar to Calendly. And I think last I heard, we're going to roll it out in like 3 different waves. So it's not going to be all the features all at once. Because we kind of have to do a slow conversion for the people who are already using our calendar.
Gotcha. Cool. So yeah, that's going to be super awesome. This is like one of the last pieces that we need to level up.
Perfect for like big sales departments and sales teams to have multiple calendars.
And I'm pretty sure that Calendly is the one that we're modeling the missing features off of. So if you're familiar with Calendly, you'll be super excited in a couple of weeks. Okay, next up, can you walk me through the add to AdWords trigger, or do you have any videos on it? I want to know how it works since I tried to use it with a form. People that fill out a form, if people fill out a form, they can be added to AdWords, but my conversions are not showing up in the trigger. So this is a tough one. This is on my list to make a video about, but I need to work with somebody else to make the video because I don't manage any AdWords accounts. I wish I could walk you through it right now. But I would say open up a support ticket if you're having troubles with it, and we'll connect you with the right person and get it working for you. But yeah, that's the theory, is that you could say, hey, whenever this thing happens over here, trigger conversion in AdWords on the right-hand side. So there is a video that Sean made when it first rolled out. I'm assuming you've seen that, but if you haven't.
I have, but it didn't
Okay.
solve my problem. But yeah, okay, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll just teach you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Chris, I just saw a post by Josh Miller saying that was imperative to set up custom link branding because MSGN is on the email spam list. Can you speak to the issue? Yeah, so that basically when you create your account, we connect you to the MSGSNDR domain so that you can send out emails right away, right? So like you sign up, you're trying to figure out SMTP. We want people to still send tests. Because of that, a lot of people, I guess, stayed on that and spammed, and for whatever reason, that domain is toast. So we now give you the ability to use whatever domain you want to send all the links out of your account and the reply stuff as well. So I would highly suggest doing that if you haven't. Let me share my screen. And you would do that in your settings, agency settings, and you'll see a field here called API domain. There's a tooltip here. So it just basically says, make sure you have a CNAME record pointing to link.msgsndr.com. So whatever you want it to be, right? So I would, if it were me, I would make it like, links.myagency.com. Something like that. And then I would go make a CNAME for link that points to link.ms, I can never remember that, msgsndr.com. And we should have a help doc on that as well. Help doc, go high level.
Also, Chase, can you clarify something for me personally?
Yeah.
The domain that you have set up there, that's recommended to be used for internal purposes, right? Like, for example, if you're managing your clients through HighLevel, that would be the domain you use versus email outblast, right?
Yeah, so this would not be a subdomain that you use for email. Like, don't use this in Mailgun. This is for the following things. If you were to direct link to a form, like, if we go into an account here, like this calendar link, see how by default it's MSG, whatever. This piece will change as soon as you set that field, this API domain field. If you were to direct link to this calendar again, this would be whatever you create. And that won't be blacklisted by anybody. So a lot of people were seeing like 404 errors or like malicious intent messages or whatever. Mostly because when you link to something in an email that goes out of HighLevel, it first comes back to our MS whatever domain, and that's what was causing a ton of problems for people. So we quickly hopped on it. We quickly made the fix. You control it now. So definitely go there, set that up, go set the CNAME, and then you won't have to worry about it anymore.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Sure. Who's up next? We've got Aiden. With surveys, I have a couple of questions. One, is there a way to export survey results to a Google Sheet? Yeah. I tried doing it with the trigger and it didn't work. Okay. Also, will there be a way to delete survey results? The reason I'm asking is I set up a survey in a landing page and conducted several tests, but I cannot delete those tests.
And I asked, and they told me that there's no way of doing it. That's why I'm asking if there will be a way of doing it in the future.
Gotcha. So you mean like when you go into an account and you go marketing, survey builder, submissions, you want to delete them from here?
That's right. Because, you know, when you run tests, you cannot delete those, and, you know, they affect the overall results.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm sure, I mean, this just rolled out like what, last week or something. So we always roll things out, like we say, as a skateboard, and then we get the feedback and we're like,
Yeah.
okay, does this need to turn into a bicycle or a motorcycle? So I would 100% expect to be able to delete those in the near future.
Okay. And I tried
As far as
exporting
the
the
Google
results.
Sheet,
It didn't work. The
yes.
trigger, I tried, and I also asked in the support, and they couldn't help me. So that's why I'm asking if there's maybe something, a bug or something that's not letting, you know, maybe export those results.
Yeah, you should be able to just webhook it out to Zapier and then zap it into
I
a Google
did.
Sheet.
For some reason, it was not picking it up. But maybe, you know, I'll try it again. Maybe I got something
Yeah,
wrong.
did you send a Loom video with your support ticket? That would really help.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
So make a Loom of what you have set up and then get it to support and just say, you know, I brought this up on the Q&A and we'll get it working for you.
All right, thank you so much.
Sure. Craig, I'm wondering how to pitch the customer rush pack to a roofer. Paulson.
Yeah.
Like what's included? I've never worked with roofers before, so not really sure what to say to excite them.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yeah. So for any one of those rush packs, regardless of the industry, there's two different ways to do white labeling, right? There's the a la carte style of white labeling, where you guys just would pick and choose a specific item within the total service that you're delivering to your end clients. Like, for example, if George came and said, hey, listen, I want to run Facebook ads, we will run just Facebook ads, just the traffic management. It does not include the landing pages. It does not include any strategy recommendation. It does not include any of the high level setup, none of that, right? But if you go, and that's per item basis, so it's like $350 for setup fees, $499 ongoing. But if you go with the rush pack, it comes with up to 3 campaigns that are not traffic centric. For what that means is, let's say you want to do 3 offers. It doesn't have to be on Google, all of it, right? It doesn't have to be all on one platform. It could be traffic centric across the board. It could be YouTube ads. You can provide Instagram campaign. You can provide a Facebook campaign, but we will manage up to 3. And that also includes non-paid advertising like a DBR. So if you want to, provide a DBR as one of your campaigns, we can provide that in there as well. With the context,
can you clarify what DBR is?
Yep, a database reactivation is basically retention marketing driven concept. Basically, within HighLevel, since we have two-way texts and two-way emails within the platform, you can take an existing list and run an offer against that list based on what your clients want and provide essentially internal marketing or retention-based marketing for your clients any given time of the relationship. Internally for us with our direct clients, we don't do a DBR no more than once a quarter. And that's kind of what we like to do ourselves. There are agencies that strictly just do DBR alone as their prime service. Depends on how you want to do that. But a DBR is perfect for, let's say somebody comes to me and they want to do the rush pack, but they don't have a ton of budget to run, a ton of campaigns on those platforms. So they don't have an ad spend. What I would do is like, hey, listen, let's start with Facebook at a minimal level at $500 a month, and let's run 2 DBRs. So they have 2 organic campaigns. So you're essentially using all 3 of the campaigns that you are allotted to on the rush packs. Does that make sense? Now, with Craig's question is, I'm wondering how to pitch the customer rush pack to a roofer, like what's included. I've never worked with the roofers before, so not really sure what to say to excite them about the HighLevel services. Is the rush pack what you recommend? I do recommend a rush pack. If you want to be client facing, what I recommend is the 997 option, where you're involved with the client, you're managing those relationships. When you go with the premium route, right, those are perfect for like basically sales oriented agencies. They don't want to touch fulfillment one bit or another. We could manage those client relationships for you. Plus, the premium rush pack comes with a software consultant as well as a marketing strategy. So it's more of a hybrid approach, similar to like a jumpstart, where somebody on Abby's team will jump in, sit with you, put together a plan, especially if the high level side is the software side is not set up, right? Now, as far as how to sell it to them, that's a whole sales, conversation that I can't really elaborate too much on. There is two huge sales trainings that I provided the community maybe about a month ago, I would say. We talked about how to do a proper intro call, and we also talked about how to do a proper demo. Here in the short time frame, probably next week, I'll do another training on closing calls and really share with you guys on how we manage sales on the Go High Level agency. But as far as roofers are concerned, particularly, you can combine them with predominantly YouTube ads as well as Facebook ads. You want to have some very, very solid ad spend. Most of the roofing clients that we have, they are around 3,000 to 5,000 on ad spend, and they provide that kind of a budget in different markets, right? Usually we'll run it two different offers, and two different markets is kind of the baseline that we've seen in other roofing clients. Hopefully that answers a ton of your questions there, Craig, and others.
And I just threw in the link to Paulson's weekly call on Mondays. He does a Zoom where they talk about all this kind of good stuff.
Yep.
So grab
Same
that
time.
link.
Yep. Same time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, similar to the Q&A on Wednesdays. We do marketplace talk on Mondays.
Hey,
Nate.
really quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Just a quick question. On your previous website, you had on the homepage, like all the tools that HighLevel replaced. I don't see that on there anymore. Is there somewhere I could find that?
Maybe we're updating it or something. If you go into, if you go to help.gohighlevel.com and you search affiliate, you spell it right. There's affiliate assets. In here, there's a swipe deck.
Okay.
And I know that one of the slides, I made this a while ago, so it's a little outdated, but one of the slides has this, so it's got a bunch of them there.
Okay, cool. Sorry for the, okay, yeah.
No worries.
Also, if you scroll all the way down on the homepage, it's down there too.
Okay, cool.
Wait, is it? Okay.
It's on the homepage. If you just scroll all the way down.
Here you go.
Right there.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I'm sure we're missing like 2 or 3 off of there as well with the recent updates.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Nate, we've got some ringless voicemails in our snapshot campaigns, and when we push the snapshot into a client account, the settings get cleared out and we have to reconfigure each voicemail. Is there a way to preserve those settings? No, because that falls into like a high risk category, right? So like if we kept that in there and you rolled it out and that went out, you would potentially be sending a voicemail from one client to another. So it should preserve the step, I think, right? You just still you have to go in there and upload a file.
Yeah, we had a voice actor record like a bunch of generic voicemails that are fine to go out with everyone, but like as we scale, we're gonna have to go reconfigure that for every single client. There isn't a way to
I mean, you could put it on the ideas board. I think most people like it the other way so that they don't have to worry about forgetting to change the voicemail, and then like Dr. Bob's clients are getting Dr. Susie's voicemail, which could be a disaster. But you can always throw it on the ideas board, and if people agree, we will make it happen.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. All right, next up, I set up a funnel and a form for a free masterclass. When I went to test it, I didn't get the email, not sure why. I set up a funnel and a form for a free masterclass. So are we talking membership builder here, or just you set up a funnel page with a form?
No,
If you didn't get it,
I set up a funnel page
okay.
and I set up the form and I connected the Gmail and the SMTP and the settings and both settings. And it seems like everything is set up correctly. I don't know what I'm missing that I didn't get the email.
Okay, two possible things. One, the trigger. So I would always go check my triggers again to make sure it's active and not in draft mode, and all that's configured correctly. Two, when I hear Gmail, I wince. Is it a personal @gmail.com email that you connected?
Yeah, I also have a business one. I thought the personal one would be better.
So that's going to cause all sorts of problems because a lot of email service providers don't like @Gmail marketing being done, and nor does Google. So if you're using an @Gmail and then in the campaign configurations you have a different email set, it won't get delivered to anybody.
Yeah, so I have my business one in the campaign and then I have the Gmail set up in the settings.
That's why I always advise people to be careful if you're using a personal Gmail as your SMTP provider. There's a bunch of different ways where this can go wrong and nothing ends up in the inbox. So step number one, if you're using @Gmail as the SMTP provider, every sending email has to exactly match, or it won't. Most inboxes will reject it. So I would suggest using your SMTP as a G Suite email, and then you can change the email in the campaign config to whatever you'd like.
Okay, I have a G Suite, so I'll change it to the G Suite one.
Swap that out in your SMTP settings, and then it should work.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Awesome. Do we have email tracking yet, Kelly? Yeah. You didn't see that? Give your account a hard refresh and you'll see email stats. Now it's probably not everything that you want yet, but it was a big step forward. Any way to become a part of the beta testers for the calendar update? I don't think the beta's opened up yet, but you'll see it be announced when it is. So Greg, I think Abby said in about 2 weeks, the beta will open up. Mary, how can you run a recurring weekly campaign? My client wants to send a reminder email weekly. Yeah, so I think I did, let's see if I can find it here. If we go back to help.go HighLevel and we search loop, I think I called it. Oops, that's not that. Here we go. If you search loop, it should show up. No. What do we call these? So it's like for a checkout, let's see. Check in. I thought it was under loop.
Call redirect.
Company settings. Somewhere in here, there's a guide on how to do those check-in campaigns. Maybe that's what I called it. Check in. Check dash in. Somewhere in here, I'm sorry, I don't want to waste time for everybody, but somewhere in here, there's a guide on how to build those check-in campaigns where it's like every 6 months it goes back, or every, you could do it weekly. Basically, you're just looping people back through 2 different campaigns. If you can't find it,
those different words.
Shoot me an email at chase@gohighlevel.com and I'll dig it up for you. All right, what do we have next? I'm getting survey results exported via Zapier. Mary Sue. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's definitely possible. So I forget who asked that question, but we'll get it figured out for you. Charlie, are any of those sales calls on YouTube? Paulson, they are, right?
I don't think they're on YouTube just yet. I haven't loaded those up in there, but
Okay.
they are all on the Facebook community with sales training as the group topic tag.
Okay.
So yeah, they're on they're in the Facebook community and they will be. And as we get those edited up, we'll load it to YouTube.
Cool. Mark, Paulson does his calls every Monday at 2 p.m. Central, same time as this call. Oh, by the way, we're going to move this call to a half an hour earlier moving forward, FYI.
1:30?
Yeah, because because Sean is usually tied up starting right when we start now. So I think we're going to move it a little bit because obviously these calls are way more awesome when he's on here and we can get the inside scoop on when things are going to happen. All right, Annabellen. That's a cool name. I'm trying to onboard a real estate investor and they're asking about integration to Zillow to bring in a property data and to be able to show a map if they have an address or lead. They want to use our system to see it all at once. Is that even possible? Thanks, Noe. Okay. I'm sure, well, let's see. I would assume that Zillow has a Zap. Thanks, Noe. Let's go search apps, Zillow. And that's not the right Zillow, right? Zillow. Okay, maybe they don't. So that's surprising. Let's see here. Zillow real estate. Zillow API. Let's see. Get started. API calls. Okay, so if you have a developer that knows how to write APIs, it looks like you can do some things. Now, what all this would let you do, I don't know. You'd have to go into their API documentation and see what kind of endpoints that they have. My intuition would be that you could grab information, suck it into HighLevel. You could probably grab a link to like a Google Map link and put that into a HighLevel field. Dynamically displaying a map somewhere, you probably wouldn't be able to make that happen. But I think you could get 3/4 of the way at least to what you're trying to do if you had a developer at hand to work with the Zillow API.
Okay.
And by the way, there's a ton of real estate agencies that use HighLevel. You might want to reach out to some of those guys as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
good idea. I would post something in the Facebook group saying, hey, has anybody working with realtors done anything like this? And you could probably save yourself a lot of time in figuring out what's possible.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, will there be an alternative to bulk requests, create new campaign to send broadcasting? Yes, it's coming very soon. I was hoping it was going to be out last week. So again, I'm hoping it's going to come out this week, but it's going to be a new bulk action in smart lists. So pretty soon contacts, this is going to go away and you're just going to see like smart lists will replace this. So when you click contacts, it'll be taken here. And across here, there's going to be a whole bunch of new bulk actions. And so one will be like send email, like a one-off email. One will be add to campaign. One will be, what else? There's a couple that are coming. And so this is going to eliminate one of the steps in a bulk request, which is going to be great. So I know a lot of people are really excited about that, myself included. I thought it was in QA, so I was assuming it was going to roll out last week, but I guess it got held up, and hopefully it comes out this week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Where do we leave off here? Okay. If you are using Mailgun and Gmail SMTP, can you send from both interchangeably? Not yet. I know it's in the works to give you the ability to add more than one SMTP provider in a sub account. And then I guess it would then go campaign specific, where you could say this campaign should send from this and this should send from the other. I don't have the details on that, but that's what I would assume would happen, because how else would you use more than one SMTP in one sub account? I don't have a time frame on that, but I know it's something I've heard Sean say that we're going to make happen. And from what I recall, it was sooner rather than later. But again, when I see Gmail, I wince. You don't want to use literal @gmail.com addresses. You want to use G Suite email addresses at the very least. Paulson, can you guys white label DBRs in the insurance industry? If so, how do we get started?
Yeah, so let me clarify something on the DBR campaigns. There is a reason why DBR is not available on Marketplace for you to purchase, because just like anybody else, we don't want to be sitting around doing a bunch of DBRs for everybody, right? It's just a lot of work. So if you purchase a rush pack, whether it's a basic or a premium, and if DBR is one of the campaigns you want to do, we will do those DBRs. But if you come to us to just strictly do DBR alone as a primary thing, I personally think it would be much more cost efficient for you to simply learn how to do those, or maybe have a VA internally to do those. But if it's part of a rush pack, we can take care of that for you. That way we can kind of minimize the amount of volume of DBRs we're running ourselves. And somebody else asked what a DBR is. Let me just go ahead and answer that as well. Basically, it's a database reactivation. Essentially what it is we're taking an existing list of your client and we're running a text or an email campaign against an offer for that timeline or for whatever you're doing. So essentially you can do advertising and retention marketing for your clients without spending any paid allocated budget, paid advertising, right? So it's a great way to get your foot in the door as a mechanism for sales, or a great way to reset a client's relationship if paid ads are not working, or just once a quarter, just getting some volume up. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, they can be super powerful, and there are literally agencies that's all they do. So it's definitely something to start practicing putting into play. If I would do it for any client who comes in who has an existing database, first thing I'm doing is DBR, because it requires no ad spend and you're going to immediately wow them. So yeah, I would definitely get in the habit of that. Hey, Sean's here.
Hey, sorry I'm late for the party.
Did you get a haircut, Sean?
I did. I had to celebrate being able to get a haircut, so I ran out and got one.
I was able to get one yesterday for the first time in forever too. It was awesome. Somebody had a question for Sean. Pop off mute if you remember that it was you and what you wanted to ask. Chris, one of my clients is having issues calling out of the mobile app. She cuts out every few seconds. I call out of my app 30 times a day with no problems. Should I have her uninstall or reinstall? That sounds like a possible solution. Sean, any other ideas jump to mind as to why somebody's...
Is this a mobile app?
Yeah, mobile app issue.
I mean, there's lots, right? Like, what type of phone do you have? What type of internet are we talking about? What's the connectivity? You know, all those different things. I think it's all, it's across the board.
Would Twilio give you any insight as to why the calls are dropping?
I mean, you can open a ticket for sure. You can go to Twilio, you can find that phone call. You can say, okay, Twilio, this call was terrible. What happened? And open a ticket specifically on it, and they can look. But most of the time, I mean, here's the thing I notice. I use the mobile at my house. I use the mobile phone, the mobile app, and I use the desktop app, and I don't have any issues. And I always find it's like, but I also have like good stuff.
Well, Chris, who asked the question, is also having no issues. So it's just one isolated person. So I think Twilio would be a good start. See what they have to say.
Yeah,
they might say.
Totally not, that's totally where I would go first. But I'd also ask, like, what type of phone do you have? and if it's like super old, well, maybe it's time for an upgrade, like, or what type of connectivity are we talking about? Like, is it good? It tends to be stuff like that.
Yeah, so I just checked with her. She's got iPhone 10. She's got good connectivity, so it doesn't seem to be an.
Then I would totally ask Twilio, but I mean, they're probably going to say there's jitter on the line or there's something like that.
Right.
But yeah, an iPhone 10 is pretty new, so I don't know.
The other thing you could have her test is being connected to Wi-Fi and making a call versus not.
So I had her try Wi-Fi and also had her connect to like another hotspot to test it out. We've uninstalled.
What if she comes off Wi-Fi entirely though, and just uses a cell data connection?
She still cuts in and out, and it's choppy. She sounds like she's in a tunnel, but she's not on speakerphone or anything like that. So maybe
and it's odd on an iPhone too, because it's like, well, because iPhones tend to be more consistent.
Yeah.
I don't know that answer. I mean,
right.
I would try to check all the obvious things, like are you in the latest version of iOS and all that, and then if all that is yes, let's open a ticket with Twilio. That's definitely the next step.
Okay. And one more mobile app question. So I know there was a known issue. So when I make a call out of the mobile app and I end a call, I have to force a shutdown of the app to get it to be responsive.
You're the second person that's told me about that. And that happens every time, right?
Every time.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, shoot. I will bring this up with the guy who runs that team and see what's going on. Because I've heard that from two people, but I've tried to replicate it and I haven't seen it. And I assume you're on the latest version. So,
yeah.
But can you do me a favor and PM me on Slack? Are you in the Slack channel?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I talked to your guy 2 weeks ago. And
Which guy? Shivam or Devanshu?
Good question.
Okay. Because I'd love to get him on the phone with you first thing tomorrow morning if you've got time.
Okay. All right, I'll ping you.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, who's up? Looks like Brandon. Is there a way to tag an incoming Facebook lead ad that comes in off of Facebook integration, not Zapier? Yeah, totally. So you just do a zap, or not a zap, a trigger. So
set up a separate trigger, right?
Real quickly. So you're gonna come over here to triggers. You're gonna make a trigger. You're gonna give it a name. And here's the one hitch. So by default, this is your HighLevel account, right? You want to change that source to Facebook. Then you do lead ad submitted. You'd specify the form. And then over here, you do add tag. Add contact tag. There you go. Next up, we have.
Don't you hate that when Jace just does it in 2 minutes?
Oh, I thought you meant when you go back to Zoom after screen sharing and it jumps you back up to the top of the chat.
That too.
Okay, what is the workaround for opportunities if there are more contacts per company? Can we see all the contacts from the same company or sending to multiple people?
I know what this is about. So this is the idea of like, when you have companies with multiple employees, how do you link them together? And this is part of our CRM optimization and upgrades that we're going to be doing in the next couple of months, where we'll create a company object and then you can associate contacts with a company.
Okay, so sounds like we're working on a solution to this.
Yes, because that's a more, so I mean, for anybody who doesn't kind of know this already, we're definitely engaged in a season of enhancement now that memberships is out. So you'll just continue to see a lot of enhancements on the root core system, and a lot of those are in the CRM. And so a common CRM feature is, if you're, especially in B2B, if you're selling into a company, that company might have like 3 people in it that you're trying to track. Or I've also seen it in scenarios where, let's say you're a dentist office and you have a family and you need to be able to identify maybe like a primary, but also have, a second, children or spouses, those types of things. So we'll sort of try to create a way to do that.
Cool. So I think the other workaround is multiple pipelines, right? So each person or entity or business could have its own pipeline, and then you can shoot people into different pipelines, move people in and out of pipelines with triggers, if that helps. Lastly, has anyone been able to bring in LinkedIn messages or trigger off that? Like if someone sends something in LinkedIn, trigger client that someone replied.
Yeah, no, that's not possible because they won't make it possible. The API currently doesn't support any kind of messaging or communication. There's some rumblings of a beta program. I've reached out to LinkedIn several times, just like I've reached out to WhatsApp, just like I've reached out to Instagram, and there's not a lot of movement there. So it's ultimately something where we just are sitting in hold, waiting for Facebook to give Instagram DM message access, WhatsApp, Facebook also give WhatsApp message access, and then here as well. So hopefully Microsoft gets their act together, but they're Microsoft, so they don't really have a lot of motivation to do anything.
Brandon just put together 1.5 million for an LO. Is that like a loan
officer?
In 2 weeks with a DBR. Nice. DBR is
buddy.
route for folks who have a client database. Totally.
Brandon.
Todd, I'm raising my hand for a nerdy tracking question.
Oh yeah, what do you got, Todd?
Okay, so I've been doing phone calls using the funnels to book an appointment. I can't use the GHL calendar yet because it doesn't support multiple calendars.
Don't worry, my friend. End of June. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big.
But it's working, right?
Yeah.
But ads are coming in through the funnel. They're booking a calendar. We're getting on the phone with them, and then we're closing them, right? Is there a way that I can do attribution back to the ad that close came from?
No, I mean, not yet. So there's two things going on here. So one, of course, the calendar update will sort of fix your problem, but we will level up. We're going to level up the script that we're using currently to do two things. One, so you just throw it in anywhere. It'll automatically start tracking off that page. And we're even going to try to sneak something in where if there's a form on the page, it'll automatically see the form post and let you convert that into a contact.
Okay. I was thinking of using the custom audience trigger once they buy and seeing if I can tie that back, but I was hoping the attribution would
Well, you can you can pixel them off the thank you page, right? And so that, I mean, at least that would get you appointment booked, which through the Facebook, I'm trying to think if that'll come through on the Facebook.
Yeah, that's what we've got, but we're entering their payment details through a page manually, so the user never sees that page.
That makes sense. Yeah, so I guess the answer is not yet, but I think one of two ways we'll get you there in the next 30 days.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down and hold you to it.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, got a trigger question for memberships. Fire away.
So actually two quick questions. So the first one is on the API, the HighLevel API. So when I go into there, I can push contacts into via the API, but I can't get the contact data because what I want to do is associate a phone number on like a web page with a contact and link them to the profile of the contact inside of Go HighLevel using that phone number. Is it there? It's just not exposed?
It is there. Varun was on a call this morning with Fur Patel on this. Can you actually ask Fur Patel? He knows the answer. He was on a call with Varun this morning.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is Varun is going to get him access to it because it's already there and we can get you the same access.
Okay, perfect. Second quick question is, I think I asked this a couple of weeks, but when do you think you'll be rolling out the trigger for enrolling a contact into a membership offer? Because basically I just want to trigger that this happens, enroll them in the offer and membership.
I think I did that today.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
Wait, you dropped something today?
Jeez, man. I dropped two awesome things today. Today was a 2-for-1 special. So we launched membership triggers today, which I will drop here in the chat for everyone. And then we also launched the ability to put memberships inside the funnel and sell it inside the funnel.
Awesome. Super clutch. You guys are awesome. Keep rocking.
That's dope.
I'm gonna find the other one. Here it is. They get buried so fast. It's amazing.
I've been on one-on-ones back-to-back all day, so I haven't even...
I know, me too, actually. Oh yeah, here we go. And then here's the other one. This is just the Loom video link, but there's a post on it too.
All right, cool. Well, I'll have those on our YouTube channel by the end of the day, so you'll also see them there. And speaking of which, the people that were asking about how to build the loop things, I found the video. Here's the link. I guess I never made the help doc. So I'll get that into a help doc but there's the video if you need it. Okay, next up. Mary Sue, I can't find the recurring campaigns article. Yeah, the video, I just dropped it.
Yep, she already thanked you.
Oh, okay, cool. Any chance of adding an affiliate sign-up trigger? Would like to, that's a cool idea. Would like to bump my fee bonuses over to affiliates when they sign up. I
What is
wonder
an
if,
affiliate sign? Oh, affiliate
does
sign
First
up
Promoter
trigger.
have that endpoint for us?
Where's Matt? Where's Matt?
Yeah.
Matt knows the answer to this. He does this already.
You might be able to do this with Zapier. Let me share my screen and let's go find out. I think this is already.
If Matt DeSeno was on this call, he would totally rock that out.
Yeah, so if we go Zapier, I have a feeling we're going to see First Promoter here. First. Promote. I'm having bad luck searching Zaps. I have a feeling they have a Zap, but yeah, I think you can definitely make this happen. As Sean said, Matt DeSeno, his company's called like Blam?
Clutch. I don't know his company name. He is, here, I found his post though. Hold on. This is his post about raising prices.
Nice.
So if you're interested, ping Matt. He knows the answer to that question.
Here you go, Sean. When will blogs be coming to websites?
Yeah, good question. So we should start in on blogging in August. So we are spending the next 2 months really just hammering on all of the small items that everyone has been asking for like a year. And, and you know, these are like things like warm transfer for calling, or if you look at the ideas list, like the SOPs thing, I'm going to make it so that like you can add a custom left menu item and then link a membership to that where you can just put in like a private link so you don't have to log in or subscribe to the membership. So you guys can sort of build all your SOPs in there, which is on the ideas list. Trying to think of all but basically it's a lot of enhancements. Now, plus we also have like the new drag and drop email builder we're working on. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So we want to get through all those core things. On the SEO side, though, we will also tackle things like site maps, robot text, H tags, that kind of thing. And then we're really the big features that the 4 big features left for, between now and let's say the fall are workflow builder, email builder, blogs, and social media posting. So that is, that's kind of our focus. But from a blogs perspective, like September.
Cool. Next up, are messenger bots still coming?
Yes. So those will probably get started in earnest in July. And I don't know how long it'll take them because the alpha was pretty cool, but I don't know how much distance there is between the alpha and release, but we'll have to see. But that'll start back up again in July.
Sweet. Kelly, I had to leave for a moment and I didn't hear the answer to the question, when will we have email tracking?
Done.
Kelly.
It's launched, Kelly. Hold on. Let me drop that Loom video so you can check that out. That went live Monday.
Yeah, make sure you try in incognito mode.
All right, Sean. Oh, that was fast. Sean got the link in there for you, Kelly. Andre or Andrea?
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Question on forms. What is the best way to send out forms and surveys to clients, but have it updated in their profile? I'm not sure what that means. Can you come off mute and fill us in a little bit?
Yeah, sorry, I knew that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew that would be confusing. So I have a lot of gym owner clients, and they want to send like surveys to their members to see how they're doing. So it's going to be like a weekend they send a survey, 3 more weeks in they send second survey. So when I've been like testing it out, if they put their name, their phone number, their email, and all that stuff, or when they put their first and last name, it just creates a whole other profile. So I'm wondering, do they have to put their
We got to match on something. So yeah, I would do phone number or email. Those are the 2 things we match on.
Okay, and So is it possible just to ask for their phone number and then the questions and
Yeah.
not even ask, and it'll just like match all of them?
Yeah. We'll match on phone number.
Got it. So as long as that's the same, then it's
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mary Sue, update on e-signature, please.
Hasn't started yet, but it's on the list of, so, well, I'm still trying to figure out how to tackle this, to be honest. So we could just add a signature function or feature to the form. And so I'm still trying to figure out like how much value that's going to bring. But first up on that person's list is actually file attachments. So we're going to do file attachments on forms and surveys first. And then either we'll I want to kind of take this out for a vote and see, do we really need to pile all into the full on, whatever it's called, PandaDoc kind of style, or can we just add can we get most people where they need to be with the signature component on the forms and then kind of go from there? But it hasn't started yet. Probably will start near the end of the month.
All right. I'm just looking in Facebook here. There is a question. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, how is everybody dealing with COVID-19? How is agency life? Anybody want to talk about? I've heard some really great success stories recently. So if nobody wants to tell me their success or failure, I can anonymously share other people's, but I was just curious how everybody is getting by.
I love it.
You love it?
That's good, right? Does that mean business is up?
Yeah, no, business is up. I didn't lose any clients. I picked up several clients, and I have 4 or 5 in the pipeline that'll probably sign with what I'm calling video branding now. And I'm not even talking about HighLevel to my clients, but I'm adding them as a sticky wiki type of service. Once they come into my orbit, I just start doing everything for them in HighLevel and say, okay, by the way, with my service, you get this, this, and this. And I don't think they'll ever want to leave once I get it set up for them.
See, I would agree with that. I think that's a good, I think that's a good point. I mean, I feel like, while it's certainly true that there's still a lot of businesses, things like gyms, for example, in a lot of places where they can't reopen quite yet. I think that the consensus I feel like is out there is that things are on the way up. And I've heard a lot of really interesting stories. I've heard, people I sort of thought would be down in the dumps. I talked to somebody recently in the Cairo niche who has nearly doubled their business from COVID-19. And when I try to tease out the difference between success and failure, it seems like people who come out really strong saying, look, either we have a COVID-19 plan, but now I think that the messaging is changing a bit. Like we have a COVID-19 relaunch plan. The people who have that type of messaging out are landing really, really, really well with their sales pitches and their ads and a lot of their materials. And the people who don't approach it sort of with that messaging are having less luck. So I'm just kind of curious to hear if other people are seeing the same thing, or if if maybe I'm off base. Oh.
So while we're waiting, if people want to chime in on that, there's a couple of questions in Facebook. So this one, I thought I had this saved. Can you push custom parameters into can you pass UTM data into custom fields and tie it to the contact?
Well, you can always have custom fields in a contact. I mean, I think though, the thing I would go back on that, and this is something we're really heavy into right now, and I think is super important for everybody to know about, is all the attribution tracking. So those UTM parameters are really normally about tracking a lead source, right? So my question would be, what lead sources are those UTM parameters coming from? And how do we make sure that we bring that into the attribution tracking we were working on? So you can, because it's not just about tracking the lead source, that's cool, but we need to be tracking it all the way through to close, right? So did that lead from that source become an opportunity, and did that opportunity close? And if they did, how much money did the customer make? So we can come back and say, from that lead source, you're making this amount of money. So my question is, what is that lead source?
So Sean, what about this question? People have asked, can I push data into HighLevel fields? And so the answer is yes, right? Like if you do question mark first underscore name equals, you could push in a value, right?
Yes. Although to me, that's not a UTM parameter. A UTM parameter is like a traditional, like UTM source, UTM type, UTM campaign, sort of.
Right. So a URL query parameter, right? What's
A query parameter and UTM parameter, as far as I understand, are different. So a UTM parameter are normally associated with things like Google Analytics or Google AdWords, or it's generally an advertising thing. It actually stands for Urchin Tracking Module, by the way. And the reason why it stands for Urchin Tracking Module is because Urchin is the product that Google bought and rebranded Google Analytics so many years ago.
Well, so, all right, to complete this thought, UTM, or not UTM, URL parameters, you can push in data, right? Like from a Gravity form or somewhere, you could push in a name into a name field in a HighLevel form. Does it work for custom fields? Like if I make a custom field called whatever.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Although, I think it depends on what we're talking about here. Are we talking about taking data from a URL parameter and putting it in a form or a survey? Or are we talking about someone landing on a form or a survey and tracking them back?
No, the first option.
Okay. I don't know. We should go figure that out. Chase?
Right.
I designate you. Because if it works, we should put out one of those really cool, like your new video format. I love that new video format where it's like the how-tos and it's got like a really cool like blue cover on it. What was your latest one?
The HighLevel how-tos on Fridays.
Yeah, how to increase appointment show rates. That has 360 views. That blew away almost all of the recent videos you put out. And I think it's because the format of the card is really easy to understand. Like it's like, oh, okay, cool. I want to increase appointment show rates.
I need to go back through our YouTube videos and make thumbnail images like that.
People will love it.
All right, so we've got a couple more questions here. Juve, how can I have prospects send it? Okay, so this one is super cool and super easy. I'm going to share my screen. This is just a trigger. So we go triggers and we say customer replied. Customer replied, and then we'd specify a couple of things, right? Like maybe only the people in a specific campaign, but let's say the reply channel is SMS, and then we do contains phrase. And so let's say you tell people to text, I want it, not separated, or whatever you want. And then boom, over here, you can add them to a campaign. So this says any text message that comes in that contains this phrase or exactly matches this phrase, we'll go ahead and trigger something. So we actually did a video on that, the positive intent. So if you search in here, like using positive intent trigger, that's very similar and also very cool. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. What else do we have? What's included with the social media feature you're working on?
Yeah, so on the social media side, our goal is to do full social media posting. So, if you're familiar with other tools like, I don't know, Zoho Social or SocialCal or Hootsuite, those types of products, our goal is to do a full-on, posting, scheduled posting, and then also, of course, monitoring and being able to reply to all those different channels. So, and then we're going to try to, of course, again, it's going to be geared towards agencies. So things like being able to put in a big schedule, be able to send that schedule to your clients, get them to approve different postings before they go live, that kind of thing, I think is going to be pretty critical. I'm even thinking about, there are a bunch of people who have syndicated content. So maybe they'll create content for their niche and then they'll want to push it out to all of the different sub accounts. So we'll have sort of mechanisms for that, I think. So that's kind of the direction we're going on.
Cool. Forms. Will there be the ability to redirect to different URLs based on options chosen in the form? So you can do this right now with surveys, correct?
I think they're saying like almost like different thank you pages almost.
Yeah, so you can do this, you can hack this by using the disqualified function of a survey. So basically you could say if somebody chooses option B in question number 1, disqualify them immediately. And then you can choose a specific disqualified URL, thank you URL, as opposed to the normal thank you URL. So you could only do it, you could only have that happen like once within a survey, but that might get you what you need. If not, get it on the ideas board, get it voted up, and we'll add it into regular forms. Hey, Tom Bristol joined. Tom, when are we doing a spotlight session? Surveys don't work, needed in forms. Yeah, Brian, in forms, you can only have one redirect URL. Although now, didn't we just release that if you use the redirect action in the funnel page builder, you could go not just to the next step, but to a specified step in the funnel? But that doesn't tie back to a singular form field, so that's not going to help you either. Brian, I would say get that in the ideas board and try to get it voted up. Okay, I think that's the end of our list. Anybody have any other questions? Going once, going twice. All right, don't forget tomorrow we have a special guest from the compliancy group, the group that we use to get HIPAA certified. It's going to be very informative. We're going to talk about how to leverage HIPAA to make more money for your agency and resell them, which is incredible. That's going to be at 2:30 tomorrow. Check your weekly roundup email for the link. And then as Sean mentioned, every Friday we do a high-level how-to at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Christian, is there a way to add a weight to a trigger? No, but you would just push them into a campaign that has a weight step and then go from there. Cool. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks. Bye.